What's up guys, welcome back for another YgoPro Duel video. A new archetype was revealed earlier today. They're called Draitron, I believe. Everyone already has seen the cards, right? New ritual archetype, they currently only have one ritual monster, but I think we saw that there was still like one place left in like the archetype. So, you know, we can definitely expect maybe another ritual monster, right? But who knows? The gimmick of the archetype is that for the ritual summon you don't need levels, and that, you know, that's like a big difference. That's new, I believe. Compared to what we were used to, right? I mean, this archetype, or the ritual spell at least, looks at the attack points, and that's where all of their level 1s come into play. All of them are level 1s, machine types by the way, and they all have like the gimmick that they cannot be normal summoned or set, they can only be special summoned by their own effects. So, you know, like tribute, let's say a ritual in your hand or on your side of the field, or, you know, one of the Drytron monsters on your side of the field to special summon them. And the cool thing is that, and that's the biggest advantage of this archetype, is that your graveyard is basically your second hand, and that, you know, opens up that opens up a lot of like potential for the archetype. The fact that, you know, like in the past decks that where their graveyards were basically their second hand equals shenanigans, and that's the same with this. But the deck still has a lot of weaknesses. You will see, you know, why. As you saw in the deck, I'm currently running 40 cards sharp. I don't really want to run more than 40. The deck plays a lot of searches. First of all, the images, the card images, you know, as you saw, they aren't right. So that's still a mistake here on YgoPro. But one thing is sure is that in this current main deck, you know, like testing past couple of hours, is that I'm running, looking just at the regular effect monsters, 12 of them. So the good ones are like Alpha searches a ritual monster, while Zeta searches a ritual spell, which I feel is a 2-off because it also has like a graveyard effect. It can recur itself from the graveyard, so that's cool. I don't think you need to run 3 of the ritual spell from the archetype. Gamma is also a solid one. I believe definitely a 2-off, if not a 3-off. Gamma has like a debris dragon effect, so it can reborn something from the graveyard, and then, you know, gives you Link Father, so that's the most important thing and the biggest advantage these new monsters have over the, you know, like the incantations, is that this monster or this archetype, they let you use the extra deck, while, you know, your incantations, they won't let you use the extra deck. So that's already a huge advantage that this archetype has over that. The other two effect monsters, I believe, are Delta and Beta. I believe they are just fine as 2-offs, or maybe even a 1-off. One of them recurs something from your banished pile back to the graveyard. That one I just feel is fine as a 1-off. Same for the ritual monster. The ritual monster, that's the gimmick with the archetype, has the ability, or, you know, the ritual spell actually has the ability to ritual summon from the graveyard. So, you know, just very similar to Vendread, just get rid of your ritual monster from the hand, discard it, you know, or you tribute it for those smaller effect monsters, and eventually ritual summon it from the graveyard. The archetype got a lot of spells. They got a field spell, which is like an invocation. It searches like another spell card from the archetype. So that's good, but its gimmicky effect of the field spell is that the Fafnir, I believe the name is, very importantly, is that as soon as a monster is like normal or special summoned, and I believe you need to control like a Drytron monster on the field, then that particular monster will lower its levels depending on, you know, its attack points, its attack stats, and that's cool. I mean, you can definitely use it during your opponent's turn. As you'll see, there are decks that definitely rely on their levels, synchro decks, exceed decks, so you can definitely interrupt your opponent's strategy right there. So that's where the field spell also could shine. As you saw, I'm running, I'm running only 1 copy of Ben 10, and mind you, the reason is that I feel that with the current support going first, this archetype, it doesn't pack negation outside of their like counter trap, but their new counter trap only negates like summons, so no spells and traps if I'm not mistaken. So that's where the Invoked engine shines. You know, it gives you Makaba, it lets you play around Nibiru, since that's this deck's biggest weakness. And the reason why I'm running only 1, well, Benten is fantastic, like the Cyber Angel Benten, because it's not for the ritual summon, but, you know, when it's like tributed for any of your like Drytron monsters, you can get a search, and I'm only running 1 search monster, and that's, you know, the Manju, right, the one-off searcher copy. Reason being is that I rather want to keep my normal summon for Alistair. right? So yeah, that's better instead of like Manju. But depends, I mean, if you're not opening with the Alistair normal summon, you can just search out your Benten, which again, very similar to Necros, is very easy. Search your ritual monster and then, you know, you can just tribute it away to use your normal summon for the searched Manju. So that's why that's like a small package, but I could definitely understand you main-decking more copies of like Benten, Manju, or other stuff. But keep in mind, and that's a good one, a very important one to keep in mind, is that this archetype, it doesn't let you like special summon monsters that can be normal summoned. So let's say the card in the extra deck, Cross Sheep, right? Cross Sheep is in the extra deck for the potential Link upgrade, but keep in mind, I believe I'm only able to special summon like Manju from our graveyard, since again, you can't special summon your effect. Drytron monsters, again, they can only be special summoned with their own effect, if I'm not mistaken. But again, keep in mind, as soon as you use that effect, or as soon as you special summon a monster from your deck or from your graveyard that can be normal summoned, you're shutting down your entire Drytron lineup, and that's actually huge for the deck. So that basically shuts down your entire search engine, and that's crucial. That's something to keep in mind. So and that's of course the gimmick that well, the gimmick, I guess, a disadvantage that this archetype has. I mean, something that I've been exploring as well is like the Chaos Space for Collapse Serpent, Wyvern Burstar, maybe Levianart as well, Chaos Creator, you know those Chaos Boss monsters. That's definitely a route you could explore on, because again, those cannot be normal summoned, they can only be special summoned with their effect, so those can definitely be main deck. But again, I don't really have the space. I definitely prefer Invoked and keep this deck as low as possible. The deck count, that is 40 card sharp, right? And yeah, that again, it really doesn't, it just wasn't working out. Same for Chaos Space, you're banishing your lights from the graveyard, and that's something that you really don't want to do, because again, the boss monster ritual has the ability that during your opponent's turn, like banish those smaller, you know, like Drytrons from the graveyard, and then send up to 2 face-up cards from your opponent to the graveyard, not destroy. So that's actually quite of a nifty effect. So the boss monster is quite cool, also cannot be targeted by monster effects. But the thing is, you saw against like PK Burning Abyss, use the field spell to, you know, manipulate the levels from your opponent's monsters, so they cannot be used for like Cherubini or like Dante or whatever. So in that matchup, for example, there are other matchups that definitely came in clutch. The biggest problem of the deck, from the archetype, is that going second, you can, well, going first, you can definitely play around hand traps. It's not that different compared to some other decks, but the archetype on its own isn't that strong yet. It lacks like power plays. It rarely has like strong 2-card combos. Most combos rely on like 3-card combinations with your smaller Drytron monsters, and that's heavy. That's really heavy. But you have a lot of searches. You have like the Cyber Dragon spell, Cyber Emergency, that searches your entire monster lineup. The archetype has like a Hero Lifts as well. The field spell is like an invocation, you know, like the magical meltdown for the deck. So searches they definitely have enough of, but they lack power plays, right? But that's where the ritual monster comes into play. It also has that Conductor Tyranno effect, that it can attack all of your opponent's special summoned monsters. So that's cute. It's a machine, so something like limited removal could be good, but I'm just never a fan of limited removal unless it's searchable off of your main deck monsters. Because the archetype is so weak to disruption, and I'm not counting like the Invoked engine, which can, you know, like force out like an early Ash Blossom, a well-timed Call by the Grave or DD Crow could stop you in your tracks, and that's actually a big deal. So I just want to keep like more answers or more extenders in the deck rather than, you know, playing something like limited removal. That's why I'm, you know, like main decking Impermanence and Call by the Grave. I mean, one of the duels, like, sometimes I read in the comments, man, you should, you know, show duels where you're going second, and then I'm like, okay, and then, okay, I want to play this like against good decks, against the current top tier decks like, you know, Emancipator, Eldritch, Synchro, Dino, whatever, right? But the problem is, in today's format, is that if I'm not opening Nibiru, which is not in the main deck, but if I'm not opening Impermanence, then I can't stop fiber, and you know, like fiber, as you saw, like one example, equals like calamities, BS, search. You know, I can't play the game if I'm not drawing those immediate answers. So, and that's the thing with current format, is that I really want to showcase going second, but the problem is that the current format is just too strong. Some decks like definitely have like the power from the beginning, but other decks, they could struggle with the current first wave of support they have. And Drytron, even though there is potential, because again, I mean, you're using your graveyard as your second hand. They have a lot of searches. They're once per turn as well, so you can just, you know, as you saw, use your multiple searching capabilities during every turn, and that's quite disgusting, right? A lot of advantage can be taken from that, or so there is potential, but of course, I mean, it definitely needs more testing. I was trying out with Necros as well, but that wasn't really working out too well. I feel that you're just making Necros worse, but again, that needs more testing. Okay, guys, again, like always, feel free to leave feedback. Thanks for watching. Feel free to leave a comment or like if you enjoyed the video. Lithium signing out. Peace.